Boy. Got it. Y'all really thought y'all could just kill a prophet and get away with it, huh? Hey, man. I heard they coming for you, bruh. They coming for you hard, you hear me? You know, my suggestion, bruh, because they really want Jay-Z, man. And he really just teamed up with you, so
Yo Gotti might be staring down some serious trouble. And the whispers on the street say the feds are quietly preparing an indictment against him, connected to Young Dolph's murder. The most telling signs are spilling straight out of the courtroom, where Hernandez-Govin's upcoming trial threatens to turn the entire situation on its head. Word is, Govin may have already made a deal, possibly even pointing the finger at Yo Gotti and his brother, Big Jook, and here's where it gets even more suspicious. Big Jook was killed not long after those rumors started circulating. Some people believe he was staying silent to shield Gotti. The truth is, Gotti had everything lined up in his favor. Angela Simmons was by his side, CMG was on fire, and his roster of artists was dominating the charts. Why would he risk it all? Over a year's old beef, but the timing of everything is hard to ignore. The trial, which has been delayed more times than a DJ changing songs, is now finally set for August 18th, 2025, just days away. And this isn't some small-time figure on trial. Hernandez-Govin is facing charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and even attempted murder for allegedly orchestrating the hit on Young Dolph back in 2021. What makes things even more unusual is how part of the case is sealed. On July 29, Judge Jennifer Mitchell closed off motions and rulings, cutting all public access without offering a single explanation. That's highly irregular for such a high-profile case involving one of Memphis's most beloved rappers. When court proceedings suddenly go silent like that, it often means deals are being negotiated or powerful names are being protected. And here's the part that has everyone talking. Govin is out on bond for just $90,000, even after violating its conditions. The alleged mastermind of a major murder plot is free to walk the streets, while every single one of his co-defendants who broke bond rules somehow had their bonds reinstated. Meanwhile, Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith remain locked up, struggling to fight their cases from behind bars. People close to the case are convinced this isn't just routine legal strategy. They believe Govin has already given the feds exactly what they wanted, possibly dropping the names of Big Jook or even Yo Gotti. When you line up the timing of Big Jook's death, the sealed court file, Govin's bond being reinstated, and the trial looming with the alleged ringleader out walking free, it doesn't just seem odd. It screams calculated strategy. This trial could shatter the Young Dolph case wide open like nothing we've seen since 2021. And if Yo Gotti's name gets called out in that courtroom, it could trigger the biggest collapse Memphis rap history has ever witnessed.
He can buy him some time, man. See what I'm saying? I want to know what you gonna do, bruh. You gonna take him down or what? You see what I'm saying? Cause they coming for you, big dog. You did. Hey, you was already winning, man. You can't have all the real ones, you know what I'm saying? You got Glow, you got Big Boogie. Come on, man.
Here's the part that has people convinced everything traces back to Yo Gotti. Prosecutors have already stated on record that Big Jook put up $100,000 to have Young Dolph taken out. Court documents and the word in the streets say Hernandez-Govin was the middleman, the one connecting the shooters to both the money and the target. Think of it like this: Govin was playing chess, Big Jook was moving the pieces, and CMG may have been the entire board. When the hit went down in 2021, the two gunmen who allegedly pulled the trigger were expecting a $100,000 payday, but here's the twist: they reportedly walked away with only $800 to $1,500 each. And that money came straight from Jook, not Gotti. That single detail sparked the big question: was this a CMG finance hit? Or was Jook running his own operation? because if any part of the money trail points toward CMG, then Yo Gotti's entire empire is staring straight into the Fed's scope at that point. This isn't just rap beef, it's organized conspiracy territory, and the picture is only getting darker. Big Jook's murder in January 2024, less than a year before Govin's trial, had everyone side-eyeing the timing. Govin was already locked up, the streets were buzzing, people thought he might flip, then suddenly, Jook's gone. Some claim it was Dolph's people getting revenge, others whisper it was a clean-up job, and plenty believe Jook was taken off the board before he could be used as evidence against bigger names. When you stack that against the fact that Govin's trial is partially sealed, that he's out on bond, and that Yo Gotti has stayed completely silent about Jook's death, the whole thing starts looking less like grief and more like strategy. Gotti's kept his public image spotless, collecting awards, closing big deals, showing off his romance with Angela Simmons, but behind the scenes, many believe he's been quietly fortifying CMG, bracing for a legal storm, because if Govin starts dropping names in court, the most obvious next target is Gotti himself. The reason Gotti's name is echoing so loudly in the streets isn't just about what might happen in a few days, it's because the one man who could have taken the fall for him is gone. Jook wasn't just Gotti's brother, he was the bagman, the logistics handler, and the bridge between CMG and the shooters accused of taking out Dolph. Jook's death hit Memphis like a silent explosion. No rest, no suspects, just a respected, high-ranking street figure executed in cold blood outside a restaurant, only hours after burying a family member. For anyone paying attention, it was clear this wasn't random. It was personal, targeted, and executed with precision. Jook was gunned down right after a funeral, in a calm setting that made the hit seem effortless. Whether he was actually planning to flip or not, the mere perception that he might have been was enough to put him in the crosshairs. And Yo Gotti's silence afterwards spoke volumes, louder than any press conference ever could. If Jook's death was unrelated, or just his own business, people expected Gotti to say something. But he didn't. That silence has fueled the theory that this was more than retaliation, it was a last-ditch move to shield Gotti. While the feds tighten their grip on the Dolph case, removing Jook may have bought Gotti just enough breathing room to get his legal defenses in place. But losing Big Jook wasn't the only hit Gotti took. Trouble soon reached his personal life. Not long after Jook's murder, Angela Simmons quietly exited the picture. She didn't slam the door, she just slipped away, respectful and calm. Then, in an interview with Angie Martinez, she revealed that she and Gotti were officially done. Her delivery was polished phrases like "all love," and "it was my choice" rolled off her tongue, but anyone listening closely could hear the tension beneath the words. She talked about being in a growing and healing season, and her timing leaving just weeks before Govin's trial said more than any statement could. Some blamed Gotti's busy schedule, others pointed to his public closeness with Glorilla, but plenty saw something deeper: legal heat. The kind that makes high-profile partners think twice about staying close. Angela's been in the public eye long enough to know the stakes, and the last thing she's risking is standing next to someone staring down a potential federal indictment tied to a high-profile murder case. If the dominoes fall against Gotti, the headlines won't just hit him, they'll splash all over anyone still in his corner.
Angela Simmons, are you telling me right now you're in your single girl era again?
Yeah, I'm telling you that.
That's why Angela's exit doesn't feel like random timing. It feels like strategy. A smooth way to step out of the blast zone before anything blows up. And now with Angela gone, Gotti's looking more isolated than ever. No brother, no ride or die. Just pressure building, heat rising, and a trial closing in fast. But Angela ain't the only one who's disappeared from Gotti's orbit. Black Youngsta has, too. You don't even need the blogs to tell you. Just scroll his Instagram. The same guy who used to go viral for flexing bricks of cash, trolling rivals, and turning every post into a mini movie has gone dead silent. For someone who built an entire image around being loud and openly coming at Dolph, this sudden quiet isn't just weird, it's unsettling. In 2025, Youngsta's presence has almost vanished, and now fans are starting to notice along with the industry. Insiders, some people think Black Youngsta is just laying low on purpose, maybe even under direct orders from Gotti, trying not to stir up more heat while the Govan trial creeps closer. Others swear it runs deeper with whispers that he might already be under legal restrictions or worse, quietly sitting in custody. And it's not just him. CMG's whole vibe feels different lately. The energy shifted. Gotti's name isn't being shouted out like before. The branding's looking cleaner and more neutral. And the whole team seems to be moving in silence. It's like they all know a storm's about to hit, and they're trying not to get swept away in the flood. Youngsta's silence hits extra hard because of his history with Dolph. The tension, the disrespect, the public shots fired back and forth. If anybody was going to speak, it would have been him, whether it's loyalty, fear, or legal strategy. Nobody knows for sure, but the timing is lining up way too perfectly with everything else going down. The moves CMG's been making don't feel random anymore. They're starting to look like pieces in a bigger puzzle. And if you know how the feds operate, you've seen this playbook before. They start low and climb high. First the shooters, then the middleman, then the money handler. And when the whole structure is cracked open and loyalty's gone, they go straight for the boss. Right now, Yo Gotti is looking more and more like that final target. We've already seen the steps. Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith, one of them, already flipped, spilling key details about promised money and who gave the green light. That's the kind of federal leverage that turns a life sentence into a bargaining chip. Now all eyes are on Hernandez Gon. If he's cooperating, the feds will be zeroing in on exactly who funded, planned, and approved the hit on Dolph. And if Govans turn over text messages, Cash App receipts, or anything tying payments back to CMG leadership, that's RICO territory. Once the feds can prove a hit was organized, bankrolled, and executed by a structured crew, it stops being street beef and officially becomes a criminal enterprise. And the pressure right now, it's building fast. All this Gotti and CMG drama traces straight back to the murder of Young Dolph, gunned down in broad daylight at Makita's homemade buttock. What started as a shocking tragedy is now unfolding into what looks like a tight-lipped criminal operation, one the feds are tearing apart piece by piece if prosecutors can connect every dot. This stops being a local murder case and becomes a full-blown RICO case, targeting everyone from the trigger men to the top executives. And if that day comes, Yo Gotti's name won't just get mentioned. It'll be front and center in bold print. No indictments dropped yet, but Gotti's moves already match someone bracing for one. He's not just quiet on social media. He's straight up making himself invisible. This is the same man who once wore the crown as the face of Memphis. From red carpets to Rolling Loud, now moving in the shadows. That kind of retreat doesn't happen unless there are serious legal moves in play. Gotti's inner circle is already crumbling. Jook was executed in broad daylight just as whispers about cooperation started swirling. Black Youngsta vanished with no explanation. And Angela walked away just weeks before Gon's trial date got locked in. These exits don't look random, they look like fallout. Here's where it turns dangerous for Gotti. Cornelius has already testified that Big Jook promised $100,000 to make Dolph disappear with Gon acting as the go-between. But the promised cash was never fully paid. And in a game like this, broken promises lead to broken silence. Right now, Gon's the only player in this case who's not dead or behind bars, and that screams one thing. He gave up something valuable. In a murder for hire case, it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger. The law hits anyone who funded, planned, or knowingly set it up with the exact same weight. If Gon handed over phone logs or showed where CMG money moved in connection to the murder, that's all the feds would need. This trial is critical not just for what's said in open court, but for what's happening in those sealed files behind the curtain. Prosecutors don't lock cases down to shield the guilty. They do it to protect evidence they're still working with. And the fact Gon's pre-trial filings are hidden from the public That screams someone else is under investigation right now, and here's the kicker, RICO. Federal prosecutors have been stacking RICO cases against music crews for decades. From Death Row to BMF to YSL, and CMG could be next in that lineup. What starts as one murder can easily get spun into an entire criminal empire, and right now, CMG fits that profile to a T, a label with a full business structure, documented beefs, money moving behind the scenes, and direct links to violent incidents. The Dolph hit isn't being treated like a rap feud gone wrong. It's being looked at as a contract job with organized structure. And that's exactly what cracks the door wide open for a RICO case. In that scenario, Gotti doesn't have to pull a trigger or send a text. All they need to show is that he knew the plan and let the machine run. If Gotti falls, it's not just a fall from grace, it's the collapse of one of the South's most powerful hip-hop camps. And that collapse might already be in motion. If you're still locked in with me after all this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash the like, so you don't miss what happens. See if you're still rocking with me after all this.